Hello everyone. A dark yet flavorful shadow has been cast over Monday Night Raw. Dominik may have lost, but I think we won. And is Doudrop a liar? I'm Casualeann. Come with me. So Redmond and Camp jump right into the main event, in which Kevin Owens failed to beat the Count back into the ring because he ran into Big E. This allows Seth Rollins to get the victory, but can we talk about the genius of this sign right here? Seth Rollins tips 5%. It's perfect. What kind of psychopath tips 5%? After Kevin loses, he goes ballistic on the man that he faults for causing the defeat, Big E. But it seemed less an isolated tantrum and more just a night of frustration that just exploded at the moment of the loss. Camp has a nickname now, MC, and the pair highlight KO's quest for validation. He's a good guy now, and he needs the locker room to know that he's a good guy. They're also keen to dig into Seth Rollins and his manipulative nature. Man, I don't know what was going on with that plastic house coat, the pleather bathrobe, whatever it was, but wow, it was something. The topic moves to the Women's Fatal 5-Way amongst their Raw Survivor Series team to crown a new #1 contender. Now, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Carmella, and Queen Zelina all go against each other. Bianca nearly won, but Doudrop, who made her grievances about Bianca known earlier in the night, yanked her off of the Queen of the Ring, leaving space for Liv Morgan to take advantage of Carmella and become #1 contender. This worked though. I'm happy that Liv got the opportunity, and if Bianca had to be pulled into a program that's kind of outside of the title picture, this was the correct way to make that happen. She doesn't look like she's lost the step in kayfabe. It's just that someone who has a problem with her is going to take precedent over those championship ambitions. That's the way to do it. Now, Becky Lynch disparaging Liv Morgan is also going to make that matchup all the more delicious. Redmond points out how Morgan and Doudrop both have been underestimated, which was kind of a nice light on what has been happening with this newest generation of superstars. Camp and Redmond hand the floor over to Megan Morant, who is with Doudrop. She wants to know if Doudrop's actions were a response to her not earning an opportunity at Survivor Series. Now, Doudrop, smug as a slug, is all over this question. She notes that Bianca deserves these opportunities, but she deserves them even more. They've both been cheated, but the way that it works is that when you lose, you get to the back of the line, and now it's time for someone new. And Morant asks, since Bianca's just gotten to Monday Night Raw, does Doudrop's time with the brand make her more deserving? Doudrop reminds us that she's beaten a lot of people, but that the opportunities still haven't happened for her. So she'll have to take them now. Nice girls finish last. And she pulled that flower off, threw it on the ground, and said, now I finish first. I felt that, girl. I ain't mad at you. But before I gush, there were just 2 lapses in logic here. Number one, no one is going to believe that Bianca just getting drafted somehow makes Doudrop the veteran on Raw. That's ridiculous. We all know Bianca's been on the main roster and in the title picture way longer. She's the one who's the former champion. She was SmackDown Women's Champion when Doudrop was just debuting on Raw in June. Another brand is not another world, no matter what WWE thinks. 2, a loss, meaning you've got to get to the back of the line, is the exact opposite of the way it works in WWE. If anything, you enter a program with someone and have about 647 rematches before you move on to someone else and have 823 matches with that person. Outside of that though, Doudrop did a great job. She was confident, she was mostly logical, and she represented a lot of fans' opinions in what she was expressing herself. I'm glad to kind of get an idea of how this will function too, with her throwing her flower on the ground. Because at first I was like, okay, the twinkles and the glitter and the spirit fingers and all that, it seems a little lighthearted if she's all of a sudden gonna be this big cruelty machine. She's cold and she's bitter. But now I think I've got it. And if someone can pull it off, I'm sure that it's her. She's got truth. She's got logic on her side. And that logic is something that Redmond and Kemp both agree with here. Throw that flower down, Doudrop. Let's go to work. After a few ads, we get recap of Big E and Chad Gable's one-on-one, showing that gorgeous German suplex from Gable. Of course, E turned things around in the end to win and earn a laser-like glare from Gable's protege and human barn door, Otis. Otis was so much fun at one time, and while I get the intense shift, I think drastic appearance changes, especially when a character's over, should have very drastic, specific plans to go along with them, and there just hasn't been that much of that. But maybe a duel with Big E is exactly what Otis needs. Next, Redmond and Kemp discussed the 8-man tag team match. You had RK Bro and the Street Profits taking on AJ Styles, Omos, and the Dirty Dogs. The heel teams turn on each other, and Dolph Ziggler takes advantage to win. Orton told Riddle to leave Omos alone before they went out there and focus, but he doesn't listen, and he receives a tree slam for all his trouble. Kemp chucks all this up to Riddle's competitiveness, and then they briefly mention Damian Priest. No footage, no setup at all. He is the United States champion, by the way, before moving on to Kevin Patrick, who's with Apollo Crews and Commander Azeez. Kevin Patrick wants to know about Cruz's intentions. Apollo just wanted to introduce himself to the US champion. He says he's here to breathe new life into Monday Night Raw and some African flavor. Now here, Kevin Patrick has the audacity. He has the temerity to tender. What exactly do you mean by African flavor? Apollo's whole face just shifted. He was laughing, smiling, and it dropped to no, he didn't in just a second. So Apollo turns to Azeez, and Azeez takes over. He says, "Allow me." Now, I'm pretty sure this is one of the first times that Dabba-Kato has spoken as Commander Azeez, so I'm here for it. He says, "Your unprofessional behavior, forcing me to remind you, you are addressing former Intercontinental Champion, man who defeated current WWE Champion at WrestleMania. This interview is officially over, just like Damian Priest's reign." Now, Apollo busts out laughing. He tells us that we're looking at the next United States champion. This was spectacular. Oh my goodness. Azeez's father is Nigerian, but I wouldn't be surprised if Apollo may have coached him along a little bit. Like his accent, like the missing grammatical articles like a, an, and the, you know, kind of swapping this verb out for a gerund, like all of those things. Those are markers of speaking another language other than English natively, particularly in West Africa. Like, I was very impressed. Oh my goodness, it was great. But Kemp warns Kevin Patrick to watch himself because he was pretty shocked. He was pretty frightened by the end of it. Following the break, they go over my favorite moment of Monday Night Raw for the night: the rapid fire shifts in the 24/7 championship. So let me make sure I got all of these. So Drake Maverick manages to defeat Reggie to become 24/7 champion. Then Akira Tozawa rolls him up, becoming champion. He starts to escape, then Corey Graves sneaks up and rolls Tozawa up, new champion there. Then Byron Saxton rolls Corey Graves up. He's new champion. Yes, sir. But it doesn't end there. Drake Maverick rolls Saxton back up, then Reggie rolls Drake up and literally flips out of the ring to escape the way he came in as 24/7 champion. The only way it could have been more fun would have been if you'd actually gotten a new champion out of it, instead of it kind of just being a more elaborate version of what we get each week, which is Reggie comes in as champion, Reggie goes out as champion. But it was still wonderful. Kemp was awesome in his recall of it as well. He notes that you have to go all the way back to NXT in the tag team division to find Graves' last reign as champion. Nice little bit of shade there since Graves is such a heel. Then he praises Saxton because he takes a beating at the announce table each week. And then at the end, Camp reminds us that Big E stops defending his title when he goes to bed at night. But the 24/7 championship is the most dangerous championship in WWE. Great job of making it sound important. It isn't, but as a fan of the 24/7 title, I do appreciate it. It's great when the effort is made to make it sound important. Next, they go to the Raw Men's Survivor Series teams and the fact that Adam Pearce put Dominik and Bobby Lashley against each other for the 5th slot. Lashley destroyed him, of course, and Ray along with him to secure his place on the team. That's definitely going to set up some conflict going into Survivor Series itself, since Ray is also on the team. Kevin Patrick is with Bobby Lashley and MVP. Kevin Patrick congratulates him on his victory, though it's at the expense of another legend's son. And he asks him how he's feeling. Bobby kind of under his breath says, you know, don't disrespect me, don't disrespect me. And MVP audibly taps the mic away from Bobby with his cane and moves it over to himself with the cane. He asks, how do you disrespect the Almighty by not having him on the team? He calls it blatant disrespect. He asks Kevin Patrick if he's a father and whether he would dare bring his son in the ring with Bobby Lashley. KP's like, no. MVP says, when the Almighty is disrespected, bad things happen. Now this is the WWE Champion Bobby Lashley MVP dynamic right here. This is the lovely thing. I have missed MVP so much, and this is why. He protects Lashley's mystique and covers for the fact that he's not the greatest on the mic. MVP makes Lashley more significant, and now that he's back, I hope he doesn't have to leave again for a long time. They go back to Camp in Redmond. Camp says that KP's son is a toddler, but he knows what he's saying. Redmond notes a disrespected Bobby Lashley is a dangerous Bobby Lashley. I just hope they're not trying to make this a thing like him destroying Legend's sons. That is a very narrow channel to try to swim. Goldberg was already just part-time. He's already destroyed Gage. Now there's Ray and Dominik. Who on earth is left? Who's an active legend with a son who's also wrestling? I don't know. Maybe it was just a throwaway line. My rating is 5 out of 5. This one was so good, like end to end, bell to bell. There were several times when I was just laughing out loud. The must-watch interview is MVP and Bobby Lashley. Lashley didn't have to do much, and that's the way it should be. Let his action talk in the ring and MVP talk out of the ring. It was the segment to see. But what do you think? How do you feel about the return of MVP? How might things play out with the new Doudrop? Are you looking forward to a Priest-Apollo Crews feud? Let me know down in the comments. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Tap that bell icon to make sure you get notifications for when new videos come out. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.